Hey everyone, we are talking about this bad boy, the Rolling Stones in mono. Stick around and we'll dive in. So recently, like a lot of you, you may have picked up the new Rolling Stones in mono box, or if you haven't, at least maybe given it some consideration because it's been the talk of the vinyl community for the past few months. It was something that I wasn't sure if I was going to get it right away. I have several of the albums that are included in this, but after kind of thinking it through and hearing some of the early reviews, I kind of jumped on it late. I did put in just kind of as a placeholder because I didn't know how well it would sell. An order on Amazon just to kind of, since you're not putting out any money, let me pre-order it. And then if I decide I don't want it, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel it. And the price came down a little bit on it. But I decided, I thought I was going to hold on to it and just go ahead and get it. And then not long before it actually was released, I found out that ABKCO, the Rolling Stones label, was selling it, and it was actually quite a bit cheaper. So even though the Amazon price was below list and had free Prime shipping, the cost through ABKCO plus shipping was still lower than Amazon. So ultimately I decided to put in an order with ABKCO when I decided to pull the trigger on this. And it was also made a little bit easier because it was right after the holidays. I had a little bit of gift money kind of, burning a hole in my pocket, and thought that, if I'm going to use it, I'm probably going to use it on records because that's what I do with gift money if you give me some money. And, when I started thinking about the price, when I lowered, even at the discounted price, I think each album was somewhere in the $25 to $27 range if you started figuring the math. So, obviously not what you want to be paying, but considering where vinyl prices have gone in the last month, that's not horrible. And then when you factored in the gift money, then I'm looking at it, well, it's kind of in that $15 to $17 range per album. And at that point, it becomes, for me at least, a bit of a no-brainer. So I decided to pull the trigger and get it. Now, as I said, I did have several albums already that are part of the box set. One is the Record Store Day Let It Bleed. This is the one that, if you recall, is the hand-poured. I'll just very carefully pull it out here. It's a cool-looking record. It does not sound good. So, there is a bit of noise on this. It's pretty well documented if you look it up. So, as far as a play copy goes, this is definitely not a play copy. So, I wanted to get it for this because this is definitely one of my favorite Stones albums. I did have a repress of Beggar's Banquet from a few years ago. This is the anniversary edition. It has the 12-inch. It's got the Sympathy for the Devil 12-inch. Original mono mix with an etched back, and it's got a bonus flexi disc. I'll probably hold on to this because it's got the bonus material on it. But, again, that's part of this box set. So I wanted to get for that. And then I did have a few others, which I've gotten probably in the last year or so. And I don't know how some of you who are into the Stones have noticed this, but it's getting really hard to find Rolling Stones albums in the wild. And if you do, they're either beat up or it's that same collection of records from kind of like the 70s on. It's not the early stuff. So I do have a copy of their Satanic Majesty's Request, which does have the lenticular cover, and it is a pretty good copy. I do have Flowers, which is that U.S. compilation of some singles and non-album tracks. And then even in the last year, and this was kind of before the announcement was made, I did find December's Children in mono and Out of Their Heads in mono. And both of these, and actually, Flowers doesn't sound too bad. This one doesn't sound too bad. The two mono ones are a lot of surface noise. They look really clean. So, from like a visual grading standpoint, VG Plus definitely. From a listening experience, probably closer to VG. So not the nicest copy. And it was one of those things where I bought these, and then probably a couple months later, the rumors started floating around that the mono box is coming out. So, just my overall impressions. The one cool thing, and I bought this from Abco, so I don't know if they got lower numbered box sets, but it was numbered to 10,000. I have copy number 47, which was pretty crazy. I remember pulling it out and thinking, oh, where's that number? And I go finding it, and it's like, whoa, that's a pretty low number, so I'll take that. I'm curious what my number would have been if I would have gotten it through Amazon like I originally planned. I'm not going to pull every single one of these out because I will put pictures up of the individual colors on the screen so you can see those, because it is a bit of an unwieldy box. But I'll pull out a few things if you haven't seen them already. First off is the booklet. It's fine. I would have, for the price of this box set, it would have been nice to maybe get a hardcover book or something with a little bit more into it. I think this just largely redoes what they did with the box set, the original black version. And then the other thing that's nice is all the albums come in, they're sleeved in those resealable sleeves. I think the jacket quality is really nice. The reproductions are really nice. The color on the vinyl is really nice. So I was really overall pleased with that. The only one that I will pull out is, I gotta find it. Let It Bleed. This is the only one that differs in one thing. So all of the albums, and this is, I think, the one thing that disappointed me a little bit with the box set, was that all of the inner sleeves were just generic white sleeves. They didn't reprint the original inners. I would have liked to have gotten that. I think that would have been a nice touch. The exception was Let It Bleed, and it really came down to the color coding. On the original, they duplicated how it went with, if it's in red, it's mono, if it's in blue, it's stereo. So they did do a printed inner sleeve so, it could reproduce that aspect of it, which was fine and cool. But they didn't do that with the others. They just went with plain white sleeves. Now it's a harder stock. It's not that really cruddy paper one that just kind of seems to disintegrate in your fingers. But, for the price point, for this trying to be, almost like borderline audiophile, I guess, it would have been nice to either get, a polyline sleeve or kind of like a MoFi sleeve. This is in a really nice red. The other ones you'll see on the screen. But I thought it would have been nice to have gotten this treatment on all of them. And then the only other one that was, I think, just a little bit of a disappointment was Under Majesty's Request with the non-lenticular, the Satanic Majesty's Request, sorry. I always mix that up, but not a lenticular cover like the original. It's still really nice look, but it would have been nice to get the lenticular cover. I mean, they do gatefolds in here where appropriate, which is nice. So I think really my only disappointment with the set is no printed inners, and they kind of went a little bit cheap with just using the plain whites and no polyline sleeves. Overall, though, what's the good here? These things sound amazing. I've heard people say that have heard the original mono box that they did, 10 years ago or thereabouts, and this one. People that have heard them both say this one sounds better than that one, and that one sounded very good because they've improved some of the technology to work on these. I mean, as far as my experience goes, I didn't hear the originals. All of these sound amazing. They're all dead quiet. The vinyl perfectly flat. I haven't had any issues with any of them. I've played all of these albums. The color looks cool. I mean, I think they did a nice job matching up a color of the record to kind of go with the album sleeve, which was nice. This is a really sturdy box. It's gonna, I think store well. It just the attention to detail was really top notch, and I think if you have an opportunity to get this box, I wouldn't wait on it, because I feel like they did the black edition to 10,000, they did this color edition to 10,000. I have no issue with the color pressings. I know some people think that black sounds better than color. I'm of the opinion that it's less about the color of the material and more of just the quality of the pressing. And you can I've got color pressings that sound great and black pressings that sound terrible. So I think it comes down to just the effort that's put into it more than anything in the mastering. So this, in general, it just sounds great. I don't think this is something that's going to be heavily discounted. So if you're kind of holding out hopes that it's going to go from whatever 400 to 200, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that most retailers are going to be content to sell this. It's going to sell well. I don't know if it's sold out yet. I think it's still available the last I checked. But I've heard stores have sold out their copies, and whether or not they'll get another is maybe remains to be seen. I'd check Abco or Amazon or obviously your local record store. Would have liked to have bought this from my local record store, but really the markup prices on box sets, the list price tends to be astronomical in most cases, and in fairness to my record store, I wouldn't want them to have to undersell something so they can't make money off of it, because I want them to stay in business. But that said, too, the markup on box sets is just excruciatingly painful sometimes, and I'm not somebody that wants to overpay for a box set. I'd rather, I'll pass on a box set if it's just way too overpriced. So really, box sets are one of the few things that I go straight to Amazon or look for another source on them just to see if I can get something well below list if possible. And if not, then I have to make the decision then, whether or not I want to get it. But, overall, as I said, really solid. If you have a chance to get it, I highly recommend. It is really cool. It does sound really good. I think what I'm going to do with my existing, the 2 mono copies that I had already, I'm just going to look to sell those, because I don't really have need for copies that are a little bit noisy, and when I can just play these. And they're ones I didn't pay a ton for them, and I'll probably just look to resell them for what I paid for them. So I'll just look to break even on those. I'll probably sell Flowers because I really don't need it. Beggars Banquet, as I said, I'll probably hold on to that one. And then as far as Let It Bleed, that's kind of to be determined, because it is that unique copy from the hand poured Record Store Day release. But even that, it's not a playable copy in my opinion. It just doesn't sound good. So that's more of am I going to keep it as a display piece or as just a bragging piece or something like that, or maybe I'll let it go for I'll that one I would try to turn a profit on it and make a little bit of money back. But beyond that, I just overall really good and was really pleased with it. Let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below, and we'll be back again soon. Take care.